Welcome to the channel. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Here's a watch which I haven't reviewed yet. It actually slipped my radar. Back when I was reviewing Rmalti watches, if you guys remember last year, they just absolutely exploded, released around 5,000 different models with another 10,000 different dial options. I remember unboxing it, but I didn't actually do the full review. So as I was digging around, doing a bit of cleaning off my stock and looking at the watches, opened the box and I found one of these. So yeah, a bit of a random review, or a bit of a review which I didn't think I'd be doing. So what happened to Rmalti? They've gone quiet, or it seems they've gone quiet. Well, it's what I said about them when they started releasing too many models. That's it. I think they gassed out too quick. So rather than steady that release, you do have to kind of control it. They just end up releasing so many, and I remember, in fact, I've done so many videos on there. I got tired of making videos about Rmalti because every time I released one, another few models, another few models. So they have a huge catalog. That's what they've done. They've released everything now, so there's not that much going on with Rmalti. In fact, before this review, I did have a quick look at their website, and they've got more dial options, so a lot of different ones. And I think some interesting ones are those GS sporty watches that they released. They've got some really nice dials on there now. Something not so crazy, and they've got some also very crazy looking dials as well. So guys, check them out. They have made a change to the logo now, so now it reads Rmalti rather than Rmalti. So they did add the I in. So there are some models which have the I, some which don't have the I, so which is going to be new old stock. But now, yes, we have the Explorer style homage here, with, as you can see, an Arabic dial, so Arabic numerals, lovely gear shape pattern on that dial, and some very nice colors. It's like a mint green in real life, however on camera it comes across as a bit of a blue. So if I can adjust the ISO for a second, yeah, I think that gives you a bit more of an accurate representation there. So it's a bit greeny, but then it discolors my hand, so let's set it back to somewhere in the middle. So we're going to go through this. Specifications wise, NH35 sapphire crystal, full stainless steel, 316L, screw down case back. I think it's around 50 meters of water resistance, screw down crown also. You've got a solid end link, solid link with screw-in links, bracelet, a solid folded clasp with milled internals and 4 micro adjustments. Dimensionally, it is a true 36 millimeter. And when I say that, the reason is because there's a lot of these style of watches that actually measure around 37 millimeters, including the San Martin and the higher end ones, and down to the cheap ones as well. So this is quite different. And you've got a 12.5 mil thickness, slightly thicker due to that sapphire crystal. You can see it does protrude quite noticeably over that bezel. Lug to lug is quite compact at just under 44 millimeters, but you can see male end links on this 5-link bracelet, and that brings it up to 49.5 millimeters. Lug width is 20 down to 16 millimeters at the clasp, and yeah, quite nice dimensions. The bracelet does feel quite nice, and I think one of the main things I'm going to be looking at is the style of case. If this is anyway similar to like the Bliga cases or the Cadson cases, or is this closer to actually some of the San Martin ones? Because there is a big difference. Guys that buy Explorer style watches or Data style watches from AliExpress, there's a huge difference on the cases, and I think this is somewhere in the middle. One of the main things about this case that you are going to notice is the finishing. So the Bliga cases that you get, they're fully polished. Then you've got polished end links on that bracelet, which does give a bit of a mismatch. Now with this one, you can see the lugs are fully brushed, as is the edge of the case there. It does match that brushing on the end links of that bracelet, so that gives it a nice uniform look. Obviously, like always, that polished side, a very nice profile. The main thing which I like about this case is how slim that bezel is. You get some watches with a very large bezel. Personally, I'm not a fan of that at all. I like the bezels to be nice and thin. This does have quite a slope on there as well, and it just gives it a more of a sleeker look. Now with the dial game, Rmalti does have really great dials. This one has got this plastered kind of logo across the top because of that pattern, so you can't really apply a logo in the center like you would normally. You have to apply it on the sort of backing, and then you've got some scripted font which is automatic in the center, and these applied silver polished Arabic numerals. It does look quite exotic, I gotta say. It's quite different. The dial is incredible. However, there is a bit of an issue. Let's see if you guys can notice it. That automatic text is definitely not aligned. It's a bit to the left and maybe tilted a bit down. Visually, it is quite clear, so I'm not going to map it out with any grids or anything, but yeah, that definitely is a bit off. And then you have a no date. However, you do have a ghost position, complete with a date window, which you can hear ticking away when you go through the times. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, you know what? It's not too cheap, right? They definitely should have gone NH38 because the price is £130 or around $160. So it's definitely not in that super cheap category where you could excuse that. They definitely have enough capacity in that price to put in an NH38 movement. As I said, there's plenty of dial options. But this is just me showcasing this particular one, and they've also got a range of colors in this. So if you prefer something just a bit more exotic, it's worth checking out. The crown on these is a lot better than you get on like the Bliga watches or the cheaper watches. It doesn't really catch. It's got a good rotation. It's very smooth on the threading as well. And yeah, overall the case does look nice. It doesn't have an exhibition case back, just your normal case back that you see on these watches. Now with regards to the bracelet, the end links are okay. There's a slight gap on either end, so just a slight gap there and one gap there. I think that's a bit of the plastic that I took off, just stuck in there. I'll get that later. Yeah, just a slight gap, but you know, overall not too bad. The bracelet itself does feel quite nice. I think this is 316 steel, not like 304 or something, just a bit different. Usually you can tell the bracelets and the cases have a big difference when you go to the really budget end of these watches. It's very smooth, there's no sharp edges, it's been polished nicely and also been brushed nicely enough. And with those screw-in links, it doesn't give you that much flex, but of course this bracelet has been made or designed to have that much flex in there as well. And the clasp, you know, it works. It's made nice. You know, it does bear a resemblance to Pagani design, which I've said before. But it does work. It's quite nice as well. Finishing is great on this. Very nice brushing, polished edges. It does give you 4 micro adjustments. So it gives you just a bit more functionality over your standard sort of dress watch. And you know, the fact that they're using this clasp again gives you more adjustment over like butterfly clasps. But these links are tiny, right? So you can have quite a bit of an adjustment. I'd say more links require screws on there. This only has like 4 or 5 links with a screw, so it could definitely do with having a bit more. And yeah, that's it, guys. Let's get this on wrist. Of course, there's no loom shot on here. Let's see how good it looks, wears, and then just kind of summarize on this. This Rmalti 36mm on my 6.5-inch wrist, and it fits really well. I love the proportions of this. Even that slightly longer lug to lug due to those male end links doesn't make a difference because the initial lug to lug is so compact. You can see that second, third link actually wrap around the wrist really well, and I like the dimensions. True 36mm. The bezel actually around 35mm. I like the slimness of that bezel. It's a really nice profile, and you know, due to all the different dial options, you can choose so many, and you'll definitely find one that you really think is great. I mean, they've got a few, I believe, OP homages as well, with the batons, etc. But just loads of options. I think the one major negative is, of course, that text there, that font there, which is not aligned correctly. So there is that potential of QC, and Rmalti did have a few like silly QC issues, things which they, you know, oversaw, didn't really pay attention to. And the bracelet is okay. Again, for £130, it is a touch pricey. It should be closer to 100 because I know they can definitely do that, especially if they're not using the NH38. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this watch. I hope you enjoyed the video like always, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.